how to win with Big Wagh and Scourge of Ghyran. This is, what month is it? November 2025. Let's get stuck in. But first, thanks to my patrons, Librarian and Beard of Dice. Wow. Okay. So before we start, I think that Big Wagh is not, N-O-T, is not a competitive option for Ironjaws or Kruleboyz. It's just not. Either one of those armies is significantly better than Big Wagh. People who play Big Wagh just want to run all their green toys on the table at the same time, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. I'm going to play Big Wagh in my next league game. I get to change my lists between every game, and the TOs told me that Orc War Clans is one book, so I can swap between Ironjaws, Kruleboyz, and Big Wagh at my between every round. So I've played 2 Ironjaws games. I did Ironmongers, Krazogs, and I'm going to do Big Wagh, and then I'm going to switch to 2 like an infantry heavy Kruleboyz and then a monster heavy Kruleboyz. I'm just playing the field right now, right? So that's fine. That's fine. I'm just playing them because they're fun. You can totally win with them, right? But they're definitely not a super competitive option. This is because the rules are quite weak, with restrictions in list writing, a very small number of enhancements to choose from, pretty mediocre spells, prayers, lores in general, right? And there's a surprisingly large number of counter synergies found in the army. So for example, there is the Power of the Wagh ability only lasts from your hero phase until the end of the round. So sometimes you'll get it for 2, and then sometimes you'll just get it for 1 turn. It's pretty mediocre. But that being said, it can still be a lot of fun. I think you just have to lean into the one good rule that the army has and have a good time. So what's an overview of the army? So you need to fundamentally rethink how to use your units because you don't have the best rules from either Ironjaws or Kruleboyz. So a really good example for me is Gutrippaz. So Gutrippaz are very good in Kruleboyz, and that's because we have Venom Encrusted Weapons, which we still technically have, kind of. We have a version of it in Big Wagh, a worse version than Venom Encrusted Weapons. But we also don't have Ganging Up, so we're not throwing 20 extra dice with Gutrippaz. And most importantly, we don't have all of those strike last mechanics. So when our opponent comes into us, if they get to fight before we do, Gutrippaz melts. And if we lose 6 or 7 or 8 models, suddenly the damage that we're throwing is just not as good. So the Gutrippaz just are not as good in Big Wagh as they are in Kruleboyz. Not by a long shot, not even close. So you have to it's a different army. So the play is to just throw a bunch of the good units and kind of play for the one good rule, which is recursion. And you want to win the game because you ended up with 2,500 points on the table instead of 2,000. You're playing an attrition game. It's a different army. You're not playing like a sneaky counterpunch army. You're playing like I'm gonna throw stuff at you every turn, and then every movement phase of mine, I'm gonna bring back models and just keep throwing stuff at you in wave after wave after wave. And I'm just gonna outvalue you over the course of the game. The way that I imagine that Big Wagh should feel is Kragnos standing in the middle of the battlefield chanting a great Wagh as more and more of his minions just speed past him, crashing into the opponent's lines until Kragnos himself enters into the fray and just starts finishing off all the wounded units. That's how thematically I think you should think about how Big Wagh is played. List construction. Okay, where am I? Camera left. Boom! Here I am. Okay, so your regiments need to be balanced between those led by Kruleboyz heroes and those led by Ironjaws heroes. This is a significant restriction. It means that you can't just like run the best Ironjaws heroes or the best Kruleboyz heroes. You have to kind of run an equal number of both. So Kragnos can count as one or the other, but he can't count as both. This means you're either going to be 2 drops or you're going to be 4 drops. There's no Regiment of Renown and there's no tower. So it's you just get what you get. Just get what you get. So you have to keep that in mind when you're thinking about list construction. Yeah. More counter synergies. We'll talk about that in a sec. Okay, so battle traits. So there's some of them. So we have Power of the Wagh. So you pick a friendly Ironjaws unit and a friendly Kruleboyz unit, and they each get the power of the Wagh for the rest of the battle round. And you pick this in your hero phase. So if you're going first, you get it for your turn and your opponent's turn. And then if you get doubled, you lose it, right? If you get doubled, you lose this buff. And if you're going second, then you only get it for your turn. That's it. So yeah, you can only, you're gonna get this like, you know, 1.5% of turns. So yeah. So what it does is that, so it does 3 different things. It does 2 kind of different things. So the first thing is that if you pick an Ironjawz unit, or the Ironjawz unit that you pick, you get +1 to run and +1 to charge. Sure, fine. There's no way to get run and charge, so you can't double up on this bonus. And for Kruleboyz, you get Venom Encrusted Weapons. You score crits on 5s. So this is like a significant buff. Scoring crits on 5s is good. Unfortunately, gut rippers aren't good. So, right, like I said before, you're not getting ganging up, you're not getting strike last, right? You're just critting on 5s. Okay, so it's less impactful in Big Wagh than it is in Kruleboyz. The second thing that it does is if you pick a hero who has a heroic trait, then they get to activate that heroic trait that they have. Let's see. So if I, yeah, so there's, we'll talk about those, I guess, in a second here. And then the best rule that they have for their battle traits is Rally the War Clan. This is in your movement phase, you get to do like a standard recursion, wholly within 12 inches of your general. So for me anyway, and when I talk about Big Wagh, I always sort of assume and think that Kragnos is your general. He of course doesn't have to be your general, but in my lists, he often is my general. So you get to do a standard recursion. So it's a model that has 3 or more models in it that started the round, right? So it can't be like a hero, and it can't be like a duo, right? It's got to be 3 or more models. So that's most of the non-hero units in your non-monster, non-hero units in your army, and you get to bring back half of them rounded up, wholly within 12 of your general, wholly outside of 9 of any opponent, right? These are this is like a standard recursion that's happening wholly within 12 inches of your general. This is your best rule. And then the last one of our things is we get to take more enhancements. So we get to pick a non-unique Big Wagh Ironjawz and a non-unique Big Wagh Kruleboyz hero, and they each get to take another enhancement. But here's another one of those weird counter synergies. We're either 2 drops or we're 4 drops. If we're 2 drops, do you think one of your 2 is going to be a named hero? Do you think it's going to be Gobstrak or Scumdrick or Gordrak or Kragnos, right? Like there's lots of heroes that are good that we have that are named heroes. So if you're 2 drops, you're probably only gonna get one of these, maybe 2. And then if you're 4 drops, you're way more likely to get a lot of these buffs. But now you're playing more heroes that aren't gonna recur and come back. So you have to kind of pick one way or the other, right? It's, I don't know, it's a little bit counter synergistic. So the heroic traits, there are 4. The heroic traits are, we'll talk about them. We'll talk about this one first. So this is taken names. It's so these of course can only go on heroes. So if your hero with taken names kills another hero, they get the power of the Wagh keyword for the rest of the turn. So this is good on Gnashtooth, I guess, because Gnashtooth, Scourge of Ghyran, Gnashtooth to be specific, is out there trying to hunt infantry heroes. So if he kills an infantry hero, then he gets power of the Wagh, which gives him crits on 5s for the rest of the game. But he only has only the orc gets to has crit mortals, and he's only throwing I think 5 dice. So it's pretty much useless. If you put this on a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, for example, he's getting +1 to run and +1 to charge for the rest of the game. Okay, not a big deal, right? Not a big deal. What else we got? So the following 3, so that one's like a passive, it's a little bit different, but the following 3, you can only activate 1 at a time. You can't activate all 3 in one turn. They only happen in your turn, and they last only until the end of your turn. So there's 3. There is a proper sneak, which is you get a 5-up ward that is everybody wholly within 12 inches of that that hero, right? And it can be on an Iron Juzz or Cruel Boys. It makes no difference. This one's probably the best one. It's good on lots of different heroes, so if you're going to pick one, this one's probably the one to take. Up next, we have the old one too, which is very similar. Holy within 12, it gives them crit 2 hits. That one's fine. And then Get Crumpen, which again is the same thing, Holy within 12, but it gives +1 to wound rolls. So, yeah, the old one too, it's counter synergistic with Cruel Boys because a lot of us already have crit mortals. It's also counter synergistic with Zogrock, who gives crit mortals. But it's good with brutes of all kinds. So this is Ragers, Rekkas, and brutes, right? It'll do 5 to 6 damage for 10 brutes. So it's not bad, but I think it's only actually good with brutes. And I mean like regular brutes, like Ragers and Rekkas, like it's fine. I think it's worse for Ragers and better for Rekkas. Rekkas are throwing six dice each. So that's, 36 dice in a reinforced unit. So that's a lot of opportunity for some crit mortal or for some crit 2 hits, right? So that's fine. And Ragers also get rend against infantry. So if you're throwing them into an infantry block, it's pretty good. So that's fine. And then the Get Crumpen which is +1 to wound. Most of our stuff is wounding on 3s already. It does stack with crit mortals, so there is that. But it'll add about 4 or 5 damage for 10 brutes, and the old one too will add about 5 to 6 damage for 10 brutes. So I think the Get Crumpen one you take last. So at most you're going to get like a 5-up ward and crit 2 hits. At most, you're probably not going to be taking 3 of these things. The question is it worth taking heroes just to get these abilities? No, it's not. I think that if you were like, I want to run Kragnos and Gobsprak, I think that's fine. I don't think you have to worry about taking any of these enhancements. I don't think that any of them are really worth going out of your way for. Remember, they're a once per battle in 1 turn, right? In fact, let's just double check this thing, because it might even be worse than that. Hold on. Let's just double check this. A proper sneak. Yeah, for the... Ooh, it's for the rest of the battle round, right? So it's like at least... So, if you're going first in the round and you pop this, it's at least for the whole round in all phases. So, the proper sneak's actually, it's actually pretty good, right? Same thing with crit 2 hits. It is for the rest of the round, but it's only going to be, if you're going first, then you'll get this in 2 combat phases. But, a 5-up ward for a whole battle round, if you can make that happen, if you're going first, is pretty decent, right? It's going to suck if you get doubled, and you don't get to pop this until after you've been doubled, but what are you gonna do, right? So other enhancements, so there's a few. There's the artifact power, which is the sneaky slab. So you put this on your biggest boy. What this does is it reflects mortal wounds back onto your opponent if you roll 6s for saves, right? You put it on a Break-A-Boss if you have one, right? And then the Break-A-Boss can go into the fight, and if people fight him, then he just reflects mortal wounds back, right? If he makes a save roll of a 6, he deals a mortal wound. So it's going to be like a disincentive to fight him. You can throw this on a Maw Crusher if you want. You can throw it on a Vulture Boss if you want. But like tanky heroes that your opponents don't want to fight into, it's fine, right? It's fine. The manifestation lore is the Foot of Gork. You get to take just the Foot of Gork, but it might be worth taking different manifestations depending on your list. I'm kind of for the way that I'm building the list right now, I'm kind of leaning maybe towards Kronspine, because the Swamp Kala does get, if you take a Swamp Kala with his +1 to cast in this army, you only have 1 cast, and the spell kind of sucks, right? So it might be worth taking just because you get to have that 1 chance of having a powerful manifestation. The army's pretty fast, so I don't know about bridge. You could also take primal, whatever it's called. Oh geez, what's that? So I mean, Kronspine's cool, right? You could do primal energy. That one's fine too, like Jaws and Burning Head, right? But if you're only going to cast 1 spell, I guess you could take a weird knob and cast 2. So if you're gonna do Cronspine, you take the Swamp Kala. I think, yeah, if you want to take a Swamp Kala, I think you take Cronspine. And if you want to take a weird knob and 10 Ardboys or 10 Brutes or something, then maybe you can take like something else. Probably Primal Energy, maybe whatever it's called for Soul Scream Bridge, you know. So but yeah, overall, like, I don't like why are you taking the Foot of Gork to remove a charge die if you're being super aggressive? If you're being super aggressive and you're 3d6 charging units into your opponent, then you don't care about removing their charge dice because you're pinning them anyway. You know what I mean? So at that point, it's better just to take another manifestation. You know? So there's a prayer, and it's called Unstoppable Wagh Beats. It's here. Let's actually look at it here. Unstoppable Wagh Beats, and here's what it does. I don't want these. I want these. Unstoppable Wagh Beats. Pick a friendly Big Wagh priest to chant this prayer. So a war chanter. Pick a visible non-hero Big Wagh infantry unit. So it has to be a non-hero, and it has to be an infantry unit. So what is it? Brutes? Probably. That is in combat, which means you have to start your turn with them already in combat. The target can use 2 fight abilities this time, with the second one being strike last. So it gives a fight twice, but they have to already be in combat. Okay, so best case scenario, here's what you do. If you're like, this prayer is amazing, here's what you do. You take the War Chanter, you take a reinforced unit of Brutes, you put the 5-up ward heroic trait on the War Chanter, you follow around the Brutes. When you think it's the go turn, hopefully you are going first at the beginning of the round. You pop the 5-up ward. Your opponent, you either go into your opponent, or on your opponent's turn they come into you, and then on your next hero phase, assuming you don't get doubled, you cast this prayer to give your Brutes fight twice. In an army that is really trying to be picky about what heroes it takes, these are a lot of hoops to jump through. You have to take the War Chanter, you probably put the 5-up ward on it, you have to be taking 10 Brutes, and you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. And I think the probability that this prayer, then you just fail the prayer roll, and your Brutes don't get to fight, you know? It just seems like a lot of work for this to happen when I think there's just better game plans. I think there's just better game plans to play instead of this prayer. Yeah. Hey, let me know what you think, though. I think this has been, like, Will, if you're listening, please let me know in the comments how this went for you. I know that this is something that you were talking about, that you liked, so please let me know. Okay, so there's also a spell. So, again, just remember that this is the only spell, right? Just the one, so you better like it. Pick a wizard. Oh yeah, and pick an infantry unit that's wholly within 12. Okay, make it 2d6. If it's an Ironjawz unit, add 3 to the control score while it's wholly within 12 of another Kruleboyz unit. Who cares? 3 control, and you have to be within 12 of a friendly Kruleboyz unit. Cool. So the wizard is a Swamp Kala, and he's wholly within 12 of a unit of Brutes, and they get +3 control. Who cares? It's so boring. And if the target is a Kruleboyz unit, until the start of your next turn, add 2 to the move characteristic while it's wholly within 12 of an Ironjawz unit. Better. +2 to move is a lot better. But is it worth taking a wizard to cast this one spell to give +2 to move to a Kruleboyz unit if an Ironjawz unit is wholly within 12? The only way that I think that this could be, like, decent is if you're taking a weird knob, and then you have Monster Killers, and then you cast it on a unit of Monster Killers that then move 7 inches, and then 3D charge Slingshot off Kragnos, because you already have your manifestations out. That's the only time I think that this would be very good. So besides that, it's like, who cares? The range also isn't very big, right? Like, you have to be wholly within 12 of the wizard. So, you know, I don't know. It just seems pretty mid. Seems pretty mid. Seems pretty bad. And that's the only one, right? So when I'm writing lists right now, I'm not taking wizards, right? I'm kind of thinking of, if I'm playing a 2-drop list, I'm not taking wizards. If I'm taking a 4-drop list, which I'm kind of considering and thinking about, then I might take a Swamp Call, a Shaman, so I can take Kronspine. But I'm still kind of working out the kinks in what a 4-drop list will actually look like. So command points. So I think Rally is F tier because you kind of want your things to die, right? So I don't want to bring them back. I want them to die. Magical Intervention, I'm going to put at F tier. I don't think you ever take or you use Magical Intervention because, again, you have no spells to cast. So it's not the Gork Rora. Gork Rora in Cruel Boys, and maybe even in Iron Jaws, to be honest, is S tier because you want to just Magical Intervention that Gork Rora out on the table so that on your next turn it can move with your wizard and you're getting 2 spells at +2 to cast. Redeploy, I'm going to put at B tier because Ragers exist. Ragers can run and charge. Rekkas can too, but I think if you're going to be playing one or the other, I think you're probably taking Ragers. And we can talk about that in the next slide. But Ragers can run and charge, which means they can redeploy and countercharge. So I'm going to give it a B tier for that reason. If you're playing Ragers, you'll probably be using a lot more redeploys. But redeploy is a pretty good ability anyway. It should probably be A tier. In fact, I'm just going to change it because redeploy is just good. The thing is that we're still like a relatively slow army most of the time. So redeploying up the board is still just like a strong way to play. Covering Fire, I'm going to put at B tier. I think it's only good if you're going to play a bunch of Bolt Boys, right? You can give them Power of the Wagh, and they can have their crit auto wounds on 5s, right? So that's not bad, and it can last for the whole turn. So, like, that's pretty good. So if you're playing, like, a reinforced unit of Bolt Boys, I think the Covering Fire is fine. Countercharge is S. Countercharge is just a very, very good ability, and you also have Ragers, so they can redeploy and countercharge. But countercharging is just sick, right? Like in an army like Orcs for sure. Forward to Victory, which is our reroll charge ability, or reroll charge command, is a B. Use it if you need it, right? If you need it, it's great. If you don't need it, then don't use it, right? All out attack, I'm going to give an A. Again, we are a destruction army. We are hitting on 4s on most everything in the Iron Jaws half. So if you are trying to get those big pigs to hit, all out attack is very good. It's good on Kragnos, right? It's good on big pigs. It's good on the monsters in general. It's good on brutes, right? All out attack is solid in Big Wagh. All out defense is B for the same reason that Rally is F. We kind of want things to be dying. So use all-out defense on Kragnos, use all-out defense on some of your bigger targets, but most of the time you're going to want to save those command points to get your units into the fight, deal their damage, and then just die. Power through, again, is B. Use it for Kragnos. If Kragnos goes in, then you're going to want to power through him out. Power through is very good for Kragnos. He's got a nice 10-inch move, so he can 3d6 charge in, and then he can just bounce out. Especially if you brought something with him that's going to keep things stuck in combat, like some pigs, for example. It's very good. Battle tactics. So it really depends on the list. Because we have so many units, we can build Big Wagh in so many different ways. I think that your list is really going to dictate how or what battle tactics you're taking. So Master the Paths and Restless Energies are my go-to. They're just very aggressive. We're taking objectives, we're taking the map, and that's how I'm playing Big Wagh. I'm just rushing everything by Kragnos and smashing it into combat. I'm going to take your objectives, I'm going to take corners of the battlefield, I'm going to kill your heroes. It's all good. Intercept and Recover, I think, is good if you have reach. So if you're playing Bolt Boys, if you're playing like a lot of really fast cavalry units, if you're playing a kill bow, I think that Intercept and Recover is also totally fine. Scouting Force is only doable if that's how your list is built, right? Tons of scouts, tons of Monster-Killas, tons of Gore Gruntas. But I think if that's how your list is built, I think that Scouting Force is also totally fine. Keep in mind, you don't have, sneak in to get those Monster-Killas deep into your opponent's territory on their terrain pieces, right? Wrathful Cycles and Attune to Ghyran are probably passes. I think they're just kind of passes for every list right now, right? Taking the center can be really hard if your opponent goes first, and being the underdog is something that I don't want to play for. Like, I don't want to play to be the underdog. I want to play to score all my points as fast as possible. So, for that reason, I don't like Wrathful Cycles, right? So some key units. You can check out my Big Wagh tier list video. I did a whole thing on that where I discuss all the units and how I rate them. But here's kind of the TLDR. I think Kragnos is an auto-include, if we're being real. And again, it's just to play into that recursion mechanic. I want to get my units into combat as quickly as possible so that they die so I can bring them back. Also, recurring units outside of 9 inches of Kragnos when they're going to immediately get a 3d6 charge is a fantastic way of having recursion. It's like, boom, you know, like turn 1, Gorgruntas, go, smash, cool, they pin, they do some damage, they buy me space, the rest of my army moves up, they die, cool, on my opponent's turn they die, right? On my next turn, 2 more pigs come back, 3d6 charge from outside of 9 inches into my opponent, right? Boom, smash, like we're back in it again. Like that's how I want to play Big Wagh. So Kragnos for me is an auto-include. Scourge of Ghyran Gnashtooth I think is the best Cruel Boys unit hero to take. Prowl on the flanks is really good. The Yankum Chain or whatever it's called, that spell is very good, right? What's it actually called? So for like just his ability, drag him out, but his ability just to like roam around the battlefield is super strong. He's just an all-around super strong unit right now. So for me in my list writing, it's like I take Kragnos for the Ironjaws unit and Scourge of Ghyran Gnashtooth for the Cruel Boys unit every single time. Or yeah, like that's how I start my lists. Gorgruntas are very good, as for the reason I just sort of described. You know, they go in, they're fast, they go in with 3, they deal impact mortals, and then when they die, they come back as 2. They're great pinning units. You can keep a unit pinned for the entire game with 3 and then 2 Gorgruntas. Very good. Monster Killers are very cost efficient. They deal crit mortals. With Power of the Wagh, they're dealing crits on 5s, which is good, right? They're throwing 21 dice and they crit on 5s, you know, like that's decent. And of course, they just have all those anti-monster mechanics. If you can take a unit of Monster Killers in any army, I think you automatically take at least 1 unit of Monster Killers. They're just very, very good. You can also take monsters. You can take a Scourge of Ghyran Scumdrek. He's very strong. His Mortal Wounds on 5 ability is on his War Scroll. So he's pretty quick, right? He's got an 8-inch move, and he can pump out Mortal Wounds against lots of things. You can also take a Break a Boss. He's very good just all by himself. And so are the Big Pigs. They have their momentum mechanics built into their War Scrolls. So the Tusk Boss can get in there. Gougers have a nice strike last. Rampage. The Hacking Crew is good. I think it kind of depends on what the rest of your list is and how you want it to play. But taking taking Kragnos and another monster is fine. You know, you just need to make sure that you have units that are planning on dying for those recursion mechanics. Cruel Boy shooting is also pretty good. Bolt Boys are good, right? Their aim shot, hasty shot is nice options to have. Their +1 to hit is built into their War Scroll. The Kill Bow is still terrible or still terrifying, right? The Cruel Boy shooting doesn't really rely on dirty tricks, right? They get their value all on their own. So you can definitely take like Ard Boys and Bolt Boys. Totally good. Raiders I think are really good. I like that they can run and charge, so they can go with a command point 10 inches and then 3d6 charge off of Kragnos. They're also kind of squishy, so they just die, right? But they have always strikes first, so an anti-monster, so they can get into something, they can deal their damage, and then they just die on the clapback, ready to come back, right? They're disposable. But the fact that they have that strike first is cool. You can also put them up as like a roadblock. If you throw 6 of them right in the way of Usharon that's coming in, you know, Usharon might think twice about walking, you know, taking a 3-inch charge into Ragers. And if he does, cool, it's my turn next. Here's 3 more. Get in there and finish off the big monster, right? Like, I think they're better in Big Wagh than they are in Ironjaws, because they get to come back. Like, they just die, but then they get to come back, so that's cool. In any list, no matter what, you need to think about what units are dying, because if you're not leaning into the recursion mechanic, there's no rule left in Big Wagh, right? There's no rule left, and so that's how I think about Big Wagh. I think, yeah, like you can just hope for some recursion, but I think the army is even weaker at that point. We have to lean into what we have. This reminds me of playing Cruel Boys in 3rd edition. So yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think. Is Big Wagh something that you like? is it stronger than I'm giving it credit for? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Wow.